Yo, we going live. What would you do? We're gonna find out. We'll give this a couple more minutes and then we're gonna go ahead and tap in. What would you do? Hey, what's good, bro? Appreciate the support. Always. So hope everybody had a good weekend, good start to the week. A lot going on in sports, man. It's almost too much to to talk about. Keish, thanks for the support. Welcome to the live. No doubt. Yeah, we have a little fun with it too, man. We get a chance to reminisce a little bit. You know, what would we do if we was in this situation? Like if it was a real life reset, you know what I mean? Uh, we always going to try to blend life and sports. They go hand in hand, anyways. You know what I mean? So, um, you know, it's cool. I think. So we'll look at it a little differently than what everybody else has over the last day or so. You know, we're not going to get super analytical, but you know, we're gonna break it down enough to where I think people will be able to say, yeah, it makes sense, or at the very least, right, we give somebody something to think about when they see this. You know what I mean? We give them something to think about, and hopefully, it makes some sense. That's the idea. So I'm gonna give it maybe like 2, 3 more minutes, and then we'll just go ahead and start it up. So I ain't holding everybody's night up. Like I said, I normally don't go live on Monday nights, but when something pops off that I feel like is definitely worthy of talking about, then I feel like I'll just pop on live and we'll talk about it. Whoever shows up, and we'll chop it up and kind of go from there. So we'll give it a couple more minutes. Almost, we almost there. 2 more minutes. Send this last little blast out. See if we can't grab a few people. You know what I mean? Big Mar, what up, bro? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Who we got up here? Chubby Chulo, TV 541. You're welcome to the Listen Man family, brother. Nice to have you here. The Watson trade is going to go down. Man, listen. I gotta ask you, are you in Cleveland? Is that where you at? Let me know. We haven't started yet. Mar, we about to right now. 1 more minute. We're just gonna wait till 8:10 and then we'll get into the show. I do have to agree with you, Chubb, man. 230 million guaranteed, and he played 19 games. That's either the worst like deal of all time, or he's just he got one of the best agents. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. All right, you in Pittsburgh. All right, so home. That's where I'm from as well, brother, for sure. All right, it's 8:10, man. Listen, I want to welcome everybody to the Listen Man show. This isn't the typical night. So Wednesday at 9 o'clock is typically when I go live and we talk about some things. But whenever something pops off that I feel like it's worthy, to talk about, kick around a little bit, we jump on live and we'll just chop it up a little bit. So if you've not been on a live with me before, man, I try to make it as interactive as possible. I don't want people just coming here just to watch me or just listen to me. I want to see what you guys are saying about things as well and kind of get your thoughts on it. And then we just chop it up for a few minutes and see what we get out of it. At the very least, we all start thinking about some things. So tonight, you know, you probably heard the news. And as the title of the show is Going Back, what would you do? So there was a court case in Louisiana that now allows a number, we don't know exactly how many, it'll be case by case, of NFL players that get cut to potentially go back to college. So the first one happened. I think his name is Daquan. He got cut by Cleveland. He played for the coach of LSU, and now next week he'll be playing for LSU. So you go from basically an amateur pro back to college. So he has an opportunity as a tight end to help LSU perhaps win a national championship. Maybe he boosts his stats. I don't know exactly how will he get redrafted. I don't know, but maybe it increases his stock to where an NFL team wants to pick up on him. So there's a number of layers to this that I wanted to just kind of to talk about. So first and foremost, I'll throw this out to you guys in the chat. What do you think about the idea of someone that basically has signed to an NFL team, been with them for 5 months, gets cut, and now has the opportunity to go? back to college. Put a one in the chat if you think it's a good idea. Put a two in the chat if you think it's not a good idea. Let's just start with that right off the bat. Good idea number one, bad idea number two. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna wait a second and see what you guys put in the chat. What we got? What we got? Tap in. Good idea, bad idea. Okay, I see a two, bad idea. All right. Anybody else? What are we thinking? If they never seen the field, one, if they never seen the field. You talking about in the NFL? If they've never seen the field in the NFL, like in a live game, because they've been on the field with the starters, second team, et cetera, for the last 5 months. So you're talking about they've never seen like an actual NFL game. Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay. No point. Don't make you a professional. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So I think that's kind of like the consensus, right? Like some people feel like it's good, some people think it's bad. Um, it to me it just really depends, right? It does depend on the player. But here's a few dynamics about this that makes it really, really interesting, right? So let's see. I'm really on the fence. Yeah, you're kind of like me. Like I'm not gonna say I care one way or the other per se. Like I've heard different takes today to where some people were way over here and some people were way over there. We talking about practice. Correct. You know, but some people feel like that's an advantage, right? You get to learn playbooks, you get to practice against professionals. I guess you could say that would be, the equivalent of somebody in basketball, right? That grew up in Europe. We could use Kobe as an example. He grew up in Europe. He was around professionals his whole life because they turned pro at 16. So by the time he came to high school here in the States, he was light years ahead of high school and probably on the college level at that time. That's why he could jump to the pros. So I guess it's kind of the same thing. Again, I'm kind of on the fence about it a little bit. But really, here's the facts. The facts is that there's going to be a number of athletes that can go from the NFL back to college. So to me, where it gets a little bit dicey and can open up a can of worms is one, how do you determine what team you go to? Do you have the pick? In this case, Lane Kiffin had him at Ole Miss. So are we going to start creating super teams because I go back to the coach that now might be coaching another team somewhere else and I'm automatically on that team? Yeah, Mar. Yeah, that just happened the other day. That's why I wanted to talk about it. It's kind of like breaking news. It's something different, right? Um, so are you bumping somebody else off of a roster spot? In other words, you get cut and then you come to LSU. We'll use him as an example, right? Is he bumping high school player that just came to college, maybe a freshman or sophomore, off the team? Or do they have extra roster spots? That's one question that I have. Because if you're bumping somebody who's eligible or has a scholarship and you're taking that scholarship away from a player, then I don't necessarily think that that would be, a good thing after or before graduation. Mar, these are guys that actually have been drafted or undrafted, went to NFL teams. They've been practicing with them all spring, and now they're getting down to the third preseason game. So this is when teams start making cuts because they got to cut the roster down. And if you get cut for certain players, you have eligibility to go back to college and play another year. So that's kind of the premise behind it. For those that are coming into the chat, that's the situation. So my question is they're not specifying like is he bumping somebody's spot? Because if that's the case, that may change your mind as whether or not you feel like it's good or bad, right? Here's something else. Can you just go to any team, or are there certain teams that you can or can't go to? Are there going to be certain teams that have certain spots of eligibility, or are there other teams that are like, no, you already have enough? Like, where does this line draw? Is this going to be the beginning of creating super teams? All in the contract, essentially. Yeah, you're right. No, that's 100% true, and that's kind of like where I was thinking too. Is like now in college, can we actually call college amateur? Right? They used to call it that. Now I view it as like semi-pro. One of the reasons why so many people want to go back to college is okay. So here it is. The NFL put out that the average yearly salary for, let's just say, one of the last people that makes a team, right, is around $800,000 a year, give or take. That's great money for most of us, right? You make 800K a year. That's phenomenal. Doing what you love to do, that's phenomenal. But if you had an opportunity to make 800,000, right, never see the field, but you can go back in this case to say LSU, since that's live right now, there's a good chance that he can make 1.5 up and actually see the field start. He can increase more tape for NFL teams. Now, I don't know whether or not he gets redrafted or not, or how that process will play out, but you get to put more tape out there showing growth, showing what you could do on the field. What if you played 4 years, never had a chance to get a national championship? Now you come back to a team, not only do you make more money, but then you end up on a team that can actually play for a national championship. So you might get a national championship out of it. You increase your bankroll, and you give the NFL some tape that might have a team take a chance on you, right? What about the money you signed for? They give it back or do they keep it? Hey, Mar, that's a great question. That's one of the questions. See, when you're like undrafted or something like that, they don't. You're not on the roster, so you don't actually get a official NFL paycheck. So a lot of these guys have not signed contracts yet. And I think that that's part of it. And if that's truly the case, then I don't blame them for wanting to go back to college. But if some of them are under contract, that again, this is the can of worms that we're talking about. If you bump somebody off of a spot, that's not good. If the NFL paid you money, let's just say they paid you 350,000, do you have to give that money back if you sign an NIL deal with another college team? Now we're starting to get into, this is really professional sports, right? This is where it's getting a little bit, quirky. And full disclosure, there's going to be a show I'm doing this week that's going to drop about the NIL in college. Like, is it good for it? Is it bad for it? So be on the lookout for that one too. And so this is kind of blurring that line of the NIL has really made college athletics, especially football, semi-pro. So it's definitely making things very, very interesting. Um, let's see what else we got. He getting NIL money, and if he's a star in college, NIL is going to be more than his. Correct, yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, part of the show, the question is what would you do? So, this just made me think, if we could go back, like right now. All right, Chubb. Let's say you, Chubb. If somebody said, "Yo, you can go back to high school, you could redo your senior year all over again," right? You can go back. You get a whole senior year. If you want to boost your grades, maybe if you was a senior that goofed around in school and maybe didn't take your grades seriously, you could boost your grades. Let's say you decided to, let's say you decided to go to college. Would you decide to do that again? If you didn't go to college, would you decide to go to college or some sort of schooling? If you did go to college, would you change what you went to school for? Maybe you went to school for something and now you're not using it. You're doing something totally different. Would you go down the same path that you're on right now, or would you completely revamp what you did and kind of roll the dice to see what happens? What do you think you guys would do? Tell me what you guys would do. If you could go back, would you do it? Put a one in the chat if you would, or two if you say, no, I'm good where I'm at right now. Because this kind of poses the question that this whole idea of some of these athletes being able to go back to college poses. Like, if we could go back and do something that we love to do over again, would you do it again? That's really the question. So I'll wait and see. One in the chat, yes, if you would go back. Two, no, I'm good where I'm at right now. This topic makes me think of, my grandmother used to say, um, youth is wasted on the young. In other words, as you get older, you gain experience, and then you look at your youth and you're like, man, if I knew then what I know now, I would have did this better, or I would have made this choice, or I would have did that. All right. So one, so you would go back. Keish, K said he go back. All right. I think that might be kind of the consensus. I think we all kind of have things that we would maybe do over again, or maybe just enhance it a certain way. You know what I mean? Like maybe that would be something that we would do. But these are all things that we could think about. These players actually have an opportunity to do that, and so do we fault them if they do it, especially if they can make more money, or if they get a do over and try to put more film out there that maybe an NFL team wants to pick them up after the season, and this time they're not low man on a totem pole. They actually have a real shot because of what they put out. I don't know. It's really a double edged sword too, because think about it this way too. You go from the NFL, right? Because sometimes teams are cut. Ryan Clark is a great example of that, right? He was undrafted. He was cut by a few teams before he finally got picked up. So you have a chance now to go to other teams and try out. Maybe you make a roster spot. Maybe somebody gets hurt during the season and they pull you up. They need a tight end, and you still get a chance to make it to the NFL. So what happens if you go back to college like he did and you get hurt? Right? You blow an MCL, ACL. Now maybe the opportunity for you to play in the league is done. You get labeled injury prone. There's the other, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the other side of the coin that makes it a little bit dicey. So in one instance, yes, you might make more money in college, but on the other side of it, it's you're 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 taking a chance now because you're going back to the college ranks. You get hurt, something happens to you, man. You kiss the NFL dream goodbye. It's done because you know how they are about players that are injury prone, right? Let's see if there's a real opportunity to better their life or career and make more money. I say go for it. I got you, Mr. Source. What's going on, man? Welcome to the live. Thanks for the support always. You're right. That's what we're talking about, right? So if we had an opportunity to go back to our senior year in high school and do some things over, that's the question. What would you do? And I'm pretty sure most of us would say we would go back and change something about that, right? Let's see. Can you market NIL for endorsements like shoe deals, jerseys, posters? Absolutely, Mark. That's what it is. NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. So this has been fought for so many years, where players' jerseys and numbers and names and likeness would get used in video games, all types of stuff. And colleges would make millions of dollars off of the athletes, and then the athletes basically got nothing, right? And so I know a lot of guys that were in college that played basketball, and they would come back. I couldn't even take them to Bojangles and pay for their food. That was an NCAA violation. You know what I mean? So I learned that a long time ago. One of the boys I hooped with, he was in school. He was actually at the University of Tennessee, and he came back. We went and had lunch. We worked out, got some shots up. Went to Bojangles. I went to buy him something to eat. He's like, no, you can't do it, man. You can't do it. If somebody was to see that, that's an NCAA violation. So that's where this whole thing came up. So, Mar, like you said, now you see these guys on commercials. They're able to basically make money off of it. So some of them make upwards of $7 or $8 million just between college and those endorsements. All right. So let's see. Mr. Source says, if you ain't already hit that like button for my boy, go ahead and do that. Hey, thanks a lot, man. Yeah, please hit the like button. Please share. I'm posting on IG, Facebook. If you see me post something, it's a huge help. If you can repost it, get me out to your folks. I want to say thank you to everybody, man. We're actually in 2 weeks already close to 80 subscribers on YouTube. So getting some good feedback. My goal, I would love to in the next week or two get up to at least 100 subscribers. Like that would to me would be great. And just try to keep growing this thing. So I can't thank you guys enough for your support, for the comments, man, and just liking and sharing, man. Hit the notification so that you get notified when I'm live. We're going to try to do this a little bit more, especially when breaking news like this pops off. I want to just hop on, man, and we just talk about it a little bit. So, thanks for that. Absolutely, yeah. Hit the thumbs up for me. Um, but yeah, so it's such a loaded situation. It's like, what do? You take a gamble and go back, you get hurt, you don't go back to the NFL. Or like Mr. Source said, you go and you can better your situation. Because why take somewhere between 600,000, 800,000 when you could potentially get 1.5 or 2 million in college, and that's not including endorsements locally. Because we all know, like in LSU, you're going to get endorsements locally. So maybe there's a car dealership that wants to pay you another few $100,000. Maybe there's a local carpet cleaning place that wants you to do a commercial for another couple. So that 2 million could go up to 2.5 or 2.7 or close to 3 by the time you get some of the local endorsements, right? These are all things that they're going to have to figure out how to regulate because it's going to be a mass exodus. They haven't given a number yet of how many people. I know they said it's in the hundreds that are actually eligible, but they haven't really specified who's actually eligible. So this is like a gray area right now. And so I can see the NFL wanting to some way regulate this because what it's doing to me is it's shining a light on the NFL that college players are making more than professional athletes. So to put that into context, that would actually be like G leaguers in the NBA making more money, right, than NBA players. That's kind of backwards. But that's exactly what's happening because college, the NCAA is basically saying they're still amateur. They don't want to say that they're professional or semi-pro because the moment they do that, players can unionize, right? They can create unions to start adding bylaws to benefit them for protection, these types of things. And the NCAA does not want that. But it's gonna cause this merge. I don't know how many of you guys are Marvel people, but on the last, not the new Spider-Man, but the Spider-Man before that. Remember, when all of the different universes were all starting to come together and was causing chaos. That's basically what we have right now. We got chaos right now. We got a bunch of universes kind of crossing that's really was never made to merge this way, and they're colliding right now. You know what I mean? So it's real interesting to see where this is going to go. So again, the question is what would you do? Would you go back if you had an opportunity? Let's see, that happened to a guy I know. He didn't have a suit, and the coach bought him a suit, and that killed his NCAA eligibility for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it happens, man. Sadly, it does. So hey, this is just my thoughts on it are simple. Each player is going to have to make their own call, right? They're going to have to do what's best for them and their family. It will be a gamble. Some people will view this as negative. Is this going to create super teams, right? What if I know other players that get cut and we all played for the same coach in college? Are we going to link together and say let's take our talents to this school, and then the next thing you know, this school becomes a superpower? A team that wasn't even in the mix for the national championship now all of a sudden is a shoe in and then wins it. Is this going to become a trend? We don't know. Time will tell. But either way, it's going to be interesting to see. Let's see. And if the talent is there, yeah, it's a gamble. But how much do you win before something negative happens? You might do more winning than losing before that happens. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that really is, the other side of the coin. Mr. Source is really that. You can get hurt in the pros. I mean, look at how many people got hurt in training camp this summer, and their season's over before it even started. I would just simply say the only difference is they're under contract, so they'll still get paid and they're with the team. It's just a gamble, you know. You might go back and make $3-4 million in college, but if your dream is to play in the NFL, and then you get injured to the point to where no team touches you, you maybe made some money, but that dream now goes. So we kind of get into that realm of is it money over the dream, that's the dichotomy of sports, right? You know, is it about the money or is it about the love? Some guys may choose not to go back to school for the love. Like, no, I'm gonna keep trying out because I want to stay in the league. This is where I want to be, and they'll bounce around from team to team and hope that they make it. Other guys, the moment that they get cut, are going to be on the phone with their former coach wherever they're at, or reaching out to coaches saying, "Hey, I'm eligible to come back now. Do you need a tight end? Do you need a running back? Do you need a wide receiver? Do you need a safety? Right? Do you need a D lineman that now has pro experience?" Right. So these are just, questions that I want to throw out to you guys, chat, to see how you're feeling about this. As Summer said, didn't even realize that this was going on. So this is what the show is about. Just talking about things that pop up that maybe we haven't heard of, but look at it in a different way. I'm not going to say it's good, great. I'm not going to say it's bad or terrible. I'm just going to say for each player, they're going to have to make their mind up and figure out what's best for them and their family, their situation. And then we'll see how it plays out. Time always tells it's undefeated, right? So we'll get a chance to see. So I just want to say, man, thanks again for everybody joining. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to shut this chat down. I hope you enjoyed it. I thank you for your taking a little time out, to kick it with your boy. It means a lot. Like I always say, man, just make sure that you subscribe, you hit that notification button so when we're live and the new shows drop, you go see them. If you haven't watched the shows that dropped last week, please check them out. Let me know what you think about them. If you don't follow me on IG or Facebook, please do. It's Listen Man for Fans on both of those. You can find me. You can DM me if you want to, if you have any ideas for a show. Speaking of that, Mr. Source, your show will be coming up this week. I plan on recording that one at some point tomorrow, and putting that one out for you. I think that one's going to be really, really interesting. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you for the suggestion. So if I can take the suggestion, I'll do it. Like I said, this show is called the Listen Man Show, for fans by a fan. So I'm just like you guys, man, and I want it to be something interactive. So again, thank you very much for your time. I hope everybody has a good and safe night. Like I always end, keep positive people around you. The more positive people you have around you, the more positive things are going to happen to you. I hope you guys have a good night. Take care.